Punters, dribblers, welcome to another episode of All Talk. Our guest today is a soccer player or footballer, whatever you want to call him. He's a dribbler, and we sort of, we've flirted with each other on social media over the years. He is the most capped Sydney FC player, I think, of all time. He has played for the Socceroos, but he's also a bit of a cult figure. You know, he's the man with the mullet. The one and only Rhyan Grant, Eddie.
Unbelievable bloke. Good Canowdra stock, Tom.
Yeah. Country boy stuff.
Country boy stuff. As you say, a bit of a dribbler of the football, the soccer ball, but also a dribbler by nature.
Great point.
He is a really easygoing guy.
Yeah.
Charismatic in a weird sort of way.
Yep.
But just yarns falling out of him.
Cool dude.
I could have spent all night with him. In fact, we almost did.
We almost did. After recording, we sat down and knocked back a couple of techies.
We did.
Shot the shit.
Such is the way of the man, the great and the powerful Rhyan Grant.
Yeah, he also brought us in a gift, which you will hear about.
Yeah, you will.
During the potty. So let's not waste any more of the punter and the dribbler's time, Eddie. Let's get to it. Rhyan Grant.
You are listening to the Hello Sport podcast.
How you doing anyway, mate? Thank you very much for coming in.
No worries. Thanks for having me, reaching out. You don't normally reach out, so.
Well, we do reach out. We like to say we don't, but.
Look, the official party line is that we never reach out. That's the party line.
Yeah, but we caught eyes, Eddie, in Bondi. We were walking.
Did you have you had a moment?
Well, we both looked. Initially, it was just like looking at a stranger, but then it was like we made the connection. It was like, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" And then I reached out. So you're a Bondi man? Do you live down there?
I do, yeah.
Or you just moved, or have you
Literally
moved to Bondi?
I was in Bondi, I moved to North Bondi. So.
Oh wow,
big move.
Big move.
Huge move.
Big move.
You know what though, dude? It still feels like it. Like you're still. I'm assuming. Did you have to like completely moving all your shit to a new house?
The last few days we've been doing it, it's been an absolute shit fight. We got removalists in, which I was saying to Ed before is definitely worth it, like worth every penny. Yeah. But still, now that unpacking is a fucking nightmare. But it is what it is.
I don't know if there's no. Like, if you were to go into Guantanamo Bay and it was like, oh, we need to get this guy we need to get some information out of him. We're going to get him to fucking unpack a house and pack up a house and remove a house. Like,
no, they don't waterboard anymore, mate. No. They get to move houses.
I'd fucking squeal. I'd squeal immediately.
Dude, I'd squeal like a fucking cut pig. I'd be squealing. Know that.
So we saw some footage of. We know that we all know we're not massive football fans, soccer fans generally. We do pay attention though to everything sort of broadly, but and we also do no research before interviews generally. So we'll probably just we just roll with it and we ask questions. But did see some footage of you violently taking out a referee on the weekend for Sydney FC. Do you get sanctioned for that? Is it a fine? Was it intentional? What happened to that referee? Was he acting? Like, I saw the video. I'm like, did even the ref player?
It looks that way, eh? I mean, well, obviously soccer players have a bad rep, but the referee was no better.
No, you stayed down.
I stayed down, to be fair, but I thought I might be in a bit of strife because I don't want to say it was intentional, but nobody likes the referee, so I wasn't going to claim that I did it on purpose. So I laid down, but then when one of the boys, Bratsy, came up, was helping me up, he was seeing if I was all right. I was like, just make sure I'm up before the ref. So he pulled me straight up and then sort of looked over and was like, yeah.
So how much of that, like, with when you...
Was that your, like, Muhammad Ali moment? Like, just
that was my chance. Yeah. I sort of bitched it a little bit, but then I got a chance to go back up and shake his hand and give him a few sweet whispers in the ear. Yeah.
Was there any even real collision, or was he playing it up? Like, did you?
I think my face got him in the chest, so there was no shoulder. Like, I didn't drop him.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if
he made it
says more about him than me, but we both stayed down. So
how's it work then? And this is probably it's almost like the generic knock on soccer, which isn't the path I'm going down, but just because the referee laid down. Like, how do you operate in that sort of situation when you are playing for a penalty or you've got like a teammate playing for a penalty? Like, is there a point where even you're like, all right, bro, get up? Or is it just like you just got to do what you got to do because that's what the game's about? Or it's the element of the game?
Yeah. No, plenty of times I'm like, fucking hell, bit of carry on. But if it wins you a penalty, I mean, I don't want to say you cheat, but if you... A lot of people will say if you feel contact, just go down, win a penalty, win the game, and then happy days. But for me, personally, as a player, I hate when people go down easy. And if if anybody does watch soccer, I'm not sure how many of your viewers do, or listeners. I very rarely dive or ever, but I get stuck in a little bit, so I do carry on a little bit and have a word to the ref about how constant people are diving and whatnot. So it's not really my thing, but I mean, if it's a grand final, it's last minute.
Everyone's thinking it's a fucking grand final.
Well, mate, leagueies stay down now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, every sport now.
Like, and I see league. It's they're looking to milk penalties. Obviously, it's been in soccer as long as I've been watching it. Is there ever like a chatter about that at training? Like, is there anyone ever whispering in your ear, listen, in this moment, you stay down or you go down? Like, is that coached to any degree, or is it just like a common understanding?
Yeah, it's just like an unwritten rule.
Yeah.
You might say just if, like, the wording is if you feel contact, go down. So not that they preach that to you, but playing football or soccer for as long as you have, that becomes like the understanding, and then whether you act on it or not, it sort of becomes second nature. But I mean, occasionally your coach might say, this guy jumps in or dives into a challenge, be aware of it, and if he does, then sort of play for it. They'll never blatantly say dive, but a lot of the time it's pretty obvious if they are or if they're not.
Yeah.
But I mean, VARs. I mean,
what are your thoughts of VAR?
Yeah, I'm personally not a big fan, because it's just it still comes down to the perception of the person in the box, really. Yeah. I don't know how much you watch the Premier League, but on the weekend, Liverpool were conceded a penalty from very little. Like, if that was anywhere on the pitch, that's probably not a foul.
But it was in the 18-yard box.
Yeah, and then I think it was Jesus or Jesus went down, and it was a pen. But it happens in 2 games later. I think in the Prem, it's not a foul. So I'm a Liverpool fan, so that might be just
No, but I mean, like, you see
it
in league, right? Like, the increased involvement they allow video refs to have and shit, and then it's like it doesn't help anything.
Well, the problem is with both sports is that it's ambiguous. Like, it's not black and white like tennis, where is it in or is it out, and that's it, right? It's like, well, how much contact was there? Is it contact? Is he looking for it? Has he gone out soft? Could he have stayed on his feet? Like, it's impossible to know, really, right?
Yeah,
like,
it's all perception, right?
It's all perception. And they seem to have, the ref was already on the field making that call, and now there's someone in the bunker making that call, the box, who's still going off the same information almost.
Yeah, anyway.
But then you slow it down, and I don't know.
It's a shit show.
Yeah,
It's
slow
it's
anything
messy.
down, it looks bad.
That's what's fucking crazy with those, like the NRL, like where it's like scoring a try or making a tackle, and they're watching it in slow-mo, and you're like, yeah, that looks like a blatant high shot because it's in like whatever frames a second. It's ridiculous. Anyway,
do you like the goal line technology though?
Yeah, because that's a little bit more like you're saying, like with the tennis or something. It's either it's in or it's not. So if they can tell you definitely that it's a goal, it's not, then I reckon that's ideal. I don't know if we have it in the A-League though. I might be wrong with that.
I could have done it with
I'd be asking you before I'd be asking us.
I could have done it in under 10s South Dubbo Wanderers. A couple of times there, I think the ball crossed the line and was waved away.
I don't want to. You didn't have the best eyesight back in those days, though. In fairness to you,
that's good. That's point.
You know what I mean. And I don't want to. That's not a shot over the bow.
It's a shot.
Well, it's not a shot. Well, no, it's not a shot. But I just know.
I'd had my eye operation then, Tom.
But were you on the mend at that point, or were you tipping?
I think I was mended. I had 4 years on the mend. I don't wear them now.
No, you don't wear them now. But you're a long way after your operation. I'm just saying. I just don't want to. I don't want to.
Shots.
Well, you were having a crack at the under-10s refereeing, and I don't know if that's fair.
I'm just saying, goal line technology could have been nice. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I scored an own goal in my under-10s grand final, so we've all got some history with the game.
Who was your junior club?
I'm originally from a place called Canoundra.
I know Canoundra.
Yeah, Central West.
Yeah,
you'd know.
I do.
How far is that from Dubbo?
Still.
Couple of hours.
Yeah, still a while.
Yeah, right.
Still a while off, but
it's in between Cowra and
Orange.
Yeah.
So because it's such a small town, we played in Cowra because we didn't have our own competition, so we'd have to travel to Cowra. So I played. I don't even know. I think it was called like Canoundra Hardware Juniors or something, but didn't have a proper name. We weren't like a club of anything. We were just different age groups.
All just together.
Yeah.
So everyone from Canoundra played in the club in the Cowra comp.
Yeah, but obviously not all in the one age group. Sorry, like it obviously went 6s, 7s, 8s, whatever.
Right. Yeah,
but it wasn't. I might be wrong. I can't remember all of it. But yeah, we were just called Canoundra. I'll just say Canoundra Tigers because that was the name of the league team.
Fuck yeah, Tigers.
Yeah, so
Were you always good?
I think when I was a kid, I wasn't great. Mum's got footage of me like chasing butterflies and shit when I'm meant to be playing. But as I got a bit older, I think, I sort of got a little bit better. And it's not hard when you come from a place of Canowdra with like 2,000 people to be
good in
shining
that
light.
situation.
Yeah.
But then what about when you get to, the bigger ponds and you start to like excel? When was that? How old were you when that sort of?
When I was 15, when I moved to Sydney for the New South Wales Institute of Sport. I got asked to move up here. That was probably when I sort of knew I've got something here. But then I started playing with the Sydney kids and I was way off it. And then just through a bit of luck and right place, right time, after that I sort of kicked on a little bit. But yeah, as soon as I came up here, I realised I wasn't the big dog of...
Was that a wig out where you come up and like...
Yeah, big time. Because you hear about these, like you go to nationals. I played for New South Wales Country against like New South Wales Metro, Queensland Metro, Queensland.
We're all New South Wales Country here.
Yeah,
yeah, we are.
Yeah. So I played for those fellas, and so you hear names. Oh, like, have you heard of this bloke? Or look at this guy, and then I got put into the same team as them in N-Swiss, and then you're sort of like, oh fuck, I'm well off it here. So it was a bit of like an eye opener, and then like I said, I sort of just grafted away, got a bit lucky, and then ended up.
What do you mean got lucky? Like there's not luck in this game, is there? Like you got to be fucking good enough.
You have to be alright. If anyone knows how I sort of play, I'm not like the most skillful or not the best, but
Ticker.
nut trucker. I'm a nut trucker of soccer. Yeah, that sums me up.
Nut truckers don't play for their country, dude. Nut truckers play for city or country, but not their country.
Yeah. You've done a little bit too much to be classed as a football nut trucker or a soccer nut trucker. But because you're a country boy from Canowdra,
with some ticker about
with
him.
ticker about it, you've got like country ticker. I think that's how I probably class it.
Country nut trucker.
That's crazy to me that you like were scouted at under 15s to go play in Sydney and shit from a little town like Canowdra.
Well, I'd
It's very impressive.
wind it back a little bit. I was from Canowdra, lived there till I was 11, moved to Bathurst.
Okay.
Bathurst.
Sorry,
Bathurst.
sorry.
What street do you
for
live
4
on?
years. I lived in Kelso.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
You
The
lived in
nice
Kelso?
part, the nice part of
Yeah,
Kelso.
Kelso is the nice part.
Kelso is lovely. Very rarely do I find myself in Kelso.
Too nice.
Much too nice.
Too nice.
No, much too nice.
Okay, Bathurst. There you go.
And then scouted from Bathurst.
Yeah. So then I played for Bathurst 75, which was the team that travelled to Sydney to play in I think it was called the Super Youth League at the time. I'm not sure if it's still around.
Yeah, they still going Bathurst 75?
The club is. I'm not sure if they still play in that comp, but the club's still kicking. But there's a shout out to a club out there who actually we have mutual friends that play for them, but the Panorama Goats. They're the team of note out in Bathurst, so shout out to those fellas.
Panorama Goats.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Panorama Goats.
I
don't
can't
recall them.
I had
recently
a
new.
sparkling.
Are they new?
Yeah, the boys started the club up. I think not sure how long ago, maybe 6-7 years ago now.
Okay.
But they're the big dogs out there now.
Bloody
I
oath.
had a sparkling half-season career for the CSU.
Oh, yeah, you did. You went out and
Sparkling.
played a couple of games. But, like, not even half season. It was a couple of games at best. You guys were going to training in the cold. I'm like, fuck, this is not lasting long. Left me at home by myself. Bleep this out, smoking cones. So, I remember. Well, from what I remember, you weren't there for very long. But sparkling. What, did you score any goals?
One, I think.
Goal line technology stitched you.
Yeah.
Stitched me.
Stitch you again.
Yeah.
Story of your career.
Story of my career. Story of my life.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't make it.
Did you, growing up in the country, I imagine, was it more football, rugby centric, rugby league or rugby union? Like, did you ever get around any of those? Like, did you ever play any of those, or were you always just...
Yeah, I played a little bit of rugby league for school and union for school.
Halfback?
I was a fullback.
Fullback?
Yeah.
Fast.
Yeah, I was a bit quick when I was younger. But yeah, I love rugby league more than football or soccer. My old man never played soccer in his life, sort of just got into it because I think mum wanted a little bit of a softer sport. And my sisters played it, my older sisters, so I just followed them. But yeah, very much rugby league, rugby union.
Who's your team for rugby league?
Penny Panthers.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Wow.
Long time fan though, I haven't jumped on the bandwagon.
Look, I can...
Well,
yeah.
growing up in Bathurst, I get it.
I get it
Closest,
as well, yeah.
yeah.
A few of the Roosters,
They've got there's a Panthers leagues in Bathurst.
Yeah.
There is. It's quite a leagues.
and they play a game there every year.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that makes a lot of
That's all
sense.
right. Have you been to any of the last 2 premierships?
I went to the grand final before when we lost to Storm. Yeah,
Fuck, that's tough.
yeah.
That's
Paid a
tough.
mozza to watch them lose, but it is what it is. But then I was overseas for last year. Last season's one, and then the season just gone. I just watched from home.
Yeah, fair
Didn't
call.
want to risk it.
So then you get picked up from playing in Bathurst down to Sydney. Big dog culture shock of the city, but also like big dicks everywhere. How old were you when you started then going? Like, how old were you when you went professional?
I made my debut when I was 17. So from NSwiss to
What's NSwiss?
the New South Wales Institute of Sport.
Oh, okay.
Apologies. And then I got picked up by the AIS, so the Australian Institute of
Yeah,
Sport.
yeah.
So I lived in Canberra for 1 year, then signed for Sydney FC.
How
in their
awful was it
junior-
living in Canberra?
Horrific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that when
freezing.
they had the old?
Old resos?
Yes.
Yeah. So I moved in just as the new resos were being built, so I got to live in the new residence, which was, in comparison to the old one, like
The old one's
Hilton.
bad?
Yeah, they were just dingy and cold.
Oh, really? I've never. You seem to have heard of those before. Are they
Yeah, we
fucking
went down there
shit?
for like a camp once.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Many a story from those ones, but the new ones were sick.
What's it like being in those high performance institutes? Like,
Yeah.
are you getting? Is everything paid for when you're in those things?
Yeah, taxpayer dollars. So we used
Fucking oath.
used to play in the Victorian like the NPL, which is in Victoria, just the local league, I think you call it. We used to have to travel down there, and then like all their fans would just. I remember sitting on the bench and they were just throwing pies at us and saying, "We pay for you where you live. We pay." Yeah, and I was like 16, 17, like shitting myself. So taxpayer dollars. So it's all paid for, but yeah, you get looked after really well. Like you got everything you need. But when you're in when you're there, you don't see it as that. You don't see it as like, fuck, look how good this is. Like I've got everything I need. You sort of just go with it because you sort of made the steps to get there, and you sort of just like, oh, it is what
Is
it
it
is.
stressful in that like you're in the pursuit of your dreams and you're in this environment where everyone's trying to be great and like improve, and I assume getting like tested on shit, like like is that a stressful environment to be in, or is it fun?
It's pretty fun. Just I think obviously it is stressful. Sort of having to live up to that every day. And we were up at 6 to do gym, and then we'd train at 9, and then we'd go to school, come back, train the Arvo, and then have to do like study hall at night. So it was pretty like hectic schedule. But then you're living with like 6, each pod they called them, each different section of the residences were called pods. You live with like 6 or 7 boys, so it's just you're just a fucking around non-stop. And
Yeah,
you're in the same residence, you're living with like the basketballers, you're living with the rowers,
Right.
like the netballers. So you can just imagine, like,
Everyone's sort of running
It's
amok.
not quite the Olympics, but it's like
is everyone
fucking not far
young
off it.
in that environment?
Yeah, mostly. Some sports that aren't, I want to say, probably as well known. They're still there as like full-grown adults,
Like
because,
volleyball and
yeah,
stuff.
because
Yeah.
obviously the funding isn't the same, so they sort of get looked after in that way. But for other sports like say football, soccer, it's sort of trying to create like a good youth, so you come up through that.
Is that still going, that sort of thing, or they rely more on the clubs to develop players?
Yeah, I think it's more clubs now. I think there was a bit of a shit show a few years ago, like because especially in the men's football, it started getting the younger boys. So when I went there, I was 16, I think, almost 17, and then they went to like 14. So they were billeting people out, and then I think there was a bit of carry on with the boys going different places and whatnot. So I think the soccer boys got a bad rep down there, and they sort of just canned the whole program.
So how long were you there for though? Like, so are you there full time? You do schooling and shit there?
Yeah.
Like it's everything.
Yeah, everything.
Do you do
Everything.
much schooling, or is it like?
You can sort of, yeah. I mean, Canberra's a little bit different, or ACT. You didn't have the HSE, so it was more just like assignments. So you didn't have the stress of like doing exam and having to wait for that. So I'd just get my older sister, who's quite switched on, and she lived in Canberra at the time actually.
Perfect.
She used to do all my assignments, and I just cruised it. Yeah.
Love that.
Oh, we love that.
Yeah.
What were your like aspirations at that point? Was it to play domestically, or did all the boys in that setup have their eyes on Europe?
Yeah, Europe I think is the big thing for like a younger player, and then you sort of get hit with the reality that everyone in the world plays soccer, and if you think you're in the top like echelon of that, you got a long way to go. so everyone thinks, Europe, whatever, Premier League. Little do you know, it's like you're fucking well off it.
Yeah. Are you dealing with as well, like, because, there's many people from many walks of life, I assume, in there. Kids that have been like, had like the sort of helicopter pushy parent, like is there sort of a weird dynamics with any of the kids that were in there that you're with who are like, I don't know, I guess with the Europe thing in mind of like just cocky little shits basically who think they've got it made?
Yeah, I think especially soccer players as a younger sort of bracket, they're all cocky, all got like the nice hair.
Yeah, they're all trying to be David Beckham.
Yeah, they all think they're already, like prima donna or whatever you call them. So there's a lot of those. And then you sort of see them fall off because obviously they've been pushed so hard as a kid and had to train so much with their old man. And there's some fuck stories that you hear about what kids had to go through to sort of just put up with their dad, let alone do well in football. Yeah. Like some of the shit that you hear is crazy. Like if they didn't play well, you have to run home behind the car and whatnot. So it's pretty like extreme. I suppose it happens in every sport, but
fully, but still, that's it, right? Like it does happen in every sport, but just being around that, like being exposed to that, like Bernard Tomic level of like parental abuse almost of your child.
Yeah, I actually met him at the AIS.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is a funny story. We played ping pong with him. He's actually a proper good fella at the time.
Yeah.
But his old man actually came in, broke it up, said, "What the fuck are you sort of playing with these fellas for?" Blah blah blah.
Really?
No way.
Yeah, isn't it? As kids, we're like, "Fuck."
What? Like you can't be playing ping pong with?
Yeah, because he must have just been roaming and came across us soccer players just playing ping pong because they had all these playrooms and shit. And then sort of stormed in. It's like, "What you doing? Should be." I don't know if he said he should be. I want to think he said you should be training at the moment. Blah blah blah.
So the parents can just roll into the AIS at just whenever they want.
I think with tennis it's a little bit different because especially with his old man, he's probably did what he wanted more than anything.
Well, I think he headbutted a trainer at one point.
Yeah,
sort of
I believe there is a story to that effect,
nose.
Tom. Yeah, I believe so.
So what was his name? John Tomic?
Tomic Senior.
Gin and Tomic? I don't know.
I don't know.
It's John?
I don't know if it was Jim and Tomic. How much? We like in that sort of vein of like pushy parents and kids that were pushed at a young age. Were you a hard trainer coming up, or like you said, have you relied more on guts to create glory, I suppose, as opposed to like
guts and oomph,
ticker, all the things that we respect to get your way to the top, or do you look back and go, fucking hell, I trained a lot when I was a youngster?
As a young kid, like my parents weren't pushy at all. I sort of played every sport, so I was always doing something. But then as I got older, I knew, like I said, when I came to Sydney, I knew I wasn't up to scratch in comparison. So you sort of had to train a little bit more, but it wasn't like I was getting up at 5 a.m. and doing hill runs or anything. I sort of just did the program that was put in place and probably did a little bit extra after. But I'm not like the sort of fella that is so football orientated, like, I need to do this, I need to do that. I sort of just lived life and sort of just went with it, and sort of ended up like a lot of my career I've been in the right place at the right time, so a lot of it is a little bit of luck, which I think a lot of sportsmen could probably say. But yeah, I wasn't super into it where I had to do anything, but I think just my nature is, if I'm going to train, I'll train as hard as I can. So that would obviously put me in good stead with my fitness or getting better, whether it was working on different skills or just being all round better at football. I think, so it just went hand in hand.
What's your juggling record? Just
huge question, dude.
Because I remember we used to have scouts. I was prodigious as a boy as well, so there's a lot of crossover between you and I.
What, with soccer?
Well, I played double reps, so that's about it. But there was always like guys from Sydney that had come out and they'd get you to juggle. And you were like, like at the start of
this wasn't like the circus?
At the start of a session, see how many you can do, blah, blah, blah. If you can get to 50, fucking,
You've signed the...
Well, you're doing pretty well, right?
Send you to Europe.
Maybe I could get 10. What's your highest ever recorded? Because it's a great marker of like soccer ability. Foot eye
coordination.
I honestly reckon you'd probably beat me.
Fuck.
Okay, I say that. I mean, I've never really counted. Even as a kid, I knew boys could do fucking heaps, so I'd never even try and do it in front of them because I was like, this is just pure embarrassment for myself. So I never really would know. I obviously probably could get a couple hundred. That's max. I just get bored though. Like,
well,
you're
so good you get bored.
Yeah.
Couple of hundred's a lot.
Couple of hundred's a lot, dude. I'm putting a fucking hole in a wall before I booting it into a window before I'm getting to like 20. Couple of hundred's a respectable number.
It is respectable.
And the metric by which we judge
all
footballers.
I've always judged footballers on their ability to juggle.
Yeah.
First and foremost.
First. So once you're AIS 16, is there do you know how long you're going to be in the AIS for? Or is it like you could get picked up before?
Yeah. Usually it's a two-year program. But at the time, the A-League just created a youth league for like resis. So Sydney FC signed me after 1 year for their reserve grade or their youth contract.
Did you ever hear of Denon Kemp getting around? Because he talks himself up as like one of the great forgotten soccer heroes of Australian, junior A-League.
Yeah. I mean, he basically refers to himself as like the Maradona of his
of A-League
of junior Queensland soccer.
Haven't heard the name, but he's a little bit older than me, isn't he? He's about 40,
he's about 40 so
odd,
maybe you missed it by a couple of years. That was probably beforehand.
Before my time.
Yeah. Was there any other are there any other athletes of note now that were knocking around the AIS days?
Yeah, I went to I was really good friends with Liz, the basketball. Basketball, yeah.
Liz Cambage.
Yeah. We were really close, actually. We were good mates.
You still keeping in touch with Liz
really,
these days?
No, she's sort of drifted apart. She's a big dog now.
Yeah.
But I went to school, when I lived in Sydney, I actually went to Hill Sports High out in Seven Hills. I went to school with Wade Graham.
Oh, yeah?
Still keep in contact with him, with Wade. Oh, yeah, he's a good fella.
He's a good man.
So, yeah, obviously being in sport, you cross paths with a lot of people. But, yeah, back then, before anyone was anyone, probably Wado's the biggest name.
Liz must have fucking towered over you.
Oh, yeah, I think she was 6'7" at the time. Oh, she probably still is, but even at that age, she was...
She was that tall then?
Yeah.
6'7"? Is she 6'7"?
I think so.
Check that, Dave. Holy shit, I knew she was big. 6'7"'s fucking humongous.
Yeah.
So she was at the AIS with you?
Yeah. She was a big gentle giant, though. I remember the girls would take the mick out of her, I think, a little bit. Because she couldn't dunk even at 6'7". But obviously she can now. She's come a long way.
Yeah.
But
well, she was the first female to dunk in the Olympics, I think. I saw that.
Is that right?
Do your own research, punters and dribblers. Don't trust me on that, but trust me on that.
Yeah.
First female.
Oh, 6'9". There you go. She might have
Wow. Okay. So she's
shot up a couple extra inches. 6'9".
Did you were you playing under 17s at the AIS back then for Australia?
Nah. It's because it always went in different ages. The year below me was the 17s World Cup. Otherwise, if I was to play in the under 17s World Cup, I would have had to be picked when I was like 15 or whatever. But I was nowhere near.
Right,
I wasn't close to it back then.
Yeah.
But yeah, then I've played under 20s, under 23s, and obviously the national team.
Which one's Ollie Roos?
That's the 23s, so that's the Olympics.
Yeah.
The
Did you play in the Olympics?
Nah, my age group didn't qualify. I don't think we scored a goal in the whole campaign. I'm a defender though, so.
There you go.
I don't want to point any fingers, but it wasn't me.
No, it wasn't you. And you also, I mean, like, I was going to ask what position you played, but I was like, that's going to be, I really don't know what I'm talking about. Now we got that out of the way. Defender. I was a defender myself. Own goal, grand final, undefeated season, we lose 1-0. So, I get it. I understand what a defender's like. You turned pro at 17 for what? So you went to Sydney FC Junior League, or is that pro playing with the big dogs?
So I signed a pro contract, was playing in the youth league at the time, and then by the end of that season, I made my debut for the first team.
So what year was that?
2008.
Was that Del Piero days?
That was before Del Piero. I think he came in 2012.
So
was Dwight York there then?
No, he was a couple of years earlier. So I was right in the between when Sydney were on a bit of like a dip. That's why I sort of...
Is that what you mean?
No,
that's right. Time luck.
Yeah. There was a lot of young boys came through at that time because obviously the team wasn't doing well. We didn't have like the big name players. No disrespect to the boys that were there, but...
How we would have only been a couple of years into the A-League by then, right?
Yeah, I think A-League kicked off in 2006.
Yep.
So I think I came in the end of the third season, back end of the third season, yeah.
And what was that experience like?
It was cool.
Yeah.
It was Yeah, like again, I've always thought, even now, like I always sort of think I'm not that good. So back then,
Fuck,
as a
mate, you're hard on
17-year-old
yourself.
You are hard on yourself.
I think I'm
Not
just
texting.
realistic. I feel like I'm just more really, like a bit of a realist. But yeah, it was cool. It was a cool time. I had like my family obviously froth it. Like my dad loves it.
Yeah.
Was never a soccer fan, but now he's like knows more than I do.
Does he?
Yeah, lives it up. So they came up, mum and dad and my sisters. So it was a pretty cool occasion. It was sort of just got told like 2 or 3 days earlier, and then came off the bench. Only played about.
Who was your coach? Sorry,
minutes.
Edward, I just got more techie.
Yeah.
there. Who was your coach?
John Cosmina,
Cozzy.
good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, legend.
What was Cozzy like?
He loved me just because of what we already spoke about. Just didn't have much, but gave it all.
Ticker.
Yeah, a bit of
Mate,
ticker.
Ticker will get you a long, long way.
Got
Ask
me
Leighton
Creed.
Hewitt, mate. He won fucking majors off the back of Ticker.
Yeah.
Great shot selector, but, you know, we're not here to talk tennis.
Sure.
We're here to talk Ticker.
No, great shot selector though. It's a great point. So were you there then when Del Piero did come? You got to
Yeah.
know Alessandro?
Yeah.
What was that like? That must have been a fucking trip. Like
That was a trip,
You know,
yeah.
I don't know, and we can get on to sort of whether you ever had a look at sort of European football and shit. But like someone like Del Piero, who's reputation for season, so a World Cup winner, just a legend. You kind of would never have even imagined to
Nah.
get to play with someone like that, right? What was it like?
Yeah, it was exactly like that. It was just sort of like, fuck, surely not. You hear the rumours and you're like, Del Piero's the A-League, surely not. But no, he was a dude. He was, as soon as he came in, took the whole team out for dinner.
Oh,
He had
really?
his own like watch brand. He wasn't like big note himself, but he had like his own ADP sort of watch brand. Gave all the boys a watch, had a book, gave all the boys a book, but not in the way that's like, fucking look at me. He was just like, oh, like, welcome.
Let me just,
like,
yeah.
I'll welcome myself
Yep.
to you guys. Like, I'll come to you, but I'll bring everything.
I can afford to welcome myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he was a legend, and like really down to earth. We had like another boy called Ali Abbas, but everyone called Alessandro Ali. So I used to, like, me and a few of the boys, being young and thought we were fucking up and cool with him. We'd be like, oh, Ali. And he would turn around and be like, oh no, Ali Abbas. And he would like fucking come over like, oh, you fucking bastard, you fucking. So he actually like brought himself down to our level and was like, he was a legend. But I mean, our facilities aren't great at the moment. We're building a new one, but at Sydney. But when he came in, he got one of the bigger rooms, just turned it into his own gym, put a TV in there, bought all these machines. Had like a personal trainer that just followed him everywhere. It was almost like his PR, and then like his trainer also literally did everything for him. And I think he was 38 at the time, so he sort of looked back and like, fuck, this guy's doing everything he can to make sure he's playing well, because obviously they're paying him a mozza. And it's sort of a good sort of like for us young boys at the time was like, fuck, that's sort of what you got to do.
Yeah.
Not that we could afford to do any of that shit, but you sort of
Could
look
you
at the
use his gym, or
professionalism.
was it like, nah, dude, that's
Nah.
it?
So at the facilities, he took a room for himself and bought all the gym equipment and put it in there, and had his own trainer.
Yeah. So he's
Would he train with you guys though, or is it
Yeah,
like this is where I just?
the first season he used to train with us all the time. Second season he would sort of come out in bits and bobs. But he was like
Why was
38,
that?
39, because I think he had to do so much prep for his body early doors in the
Right.
morning, before he could do anything. But we're not going to change our schedule, our training like routine to sort of fit around him.
Was there any resentment around that, or was it like, nah, it's Del Piero, he can do it?
Nah, we were like, normally people would be like, fucking hell, like, surely. But with him, you're like, nah, do what you want, bro. Like,
And he's a cool dude, so
yeah,
it
he's
wasn't
a
like he was.
legend. Yeah, he's a good
How
guy.
much did you glean much from him as a player and as a professional and as a football mind?
Yeah, it's sort of like a lot of people say, oh, you watch this guy, you watch that, you see what he does. You can learn a little bit, but at the end of the day, like, you can't do what he does otherwise. If you could watch anyone and do what they do, then you could get anywhere. But you sort of watch him. It doesn't matter how close you are. Like, I'm training against him, and he was 38 at the time, and he just looked like he was in slow-mo. He'd turn me or pretend to go left, go right, and I'd be like, fuck. So next time he's going to go right, and he'd go left. Like, I might try that. You try and do it, and you fucking trip over your own feet, and you're like, yeah, nah, stay in your lane.
Yeah, right. There's levels.
So it's hard to sort of, you can watch him and take in everything, but you don't learn. You learn a bit, but you can't like apply that to your game. But like I mentioned before, the biggest thing is you see what he does to keep himself like at peak fitness or the professionalism around it, and that's when you can sort of apply that. Not go out in the sauce or whattever 3 days before a game and whatnot. Not that I'd do that.
How much would he not dictate, but like sort of give his opinion on how you're going to play, the style you're going to play? Like conversation between him and the coach.
Was Cosmina still a coach?
No, we had Frank Farina.
Oh, yeah.
Frank, old Socceroos coach, Frank.
Yeah. Socceroos legend. I think it's hard to... I'm not sure the extent of the relationship that they had, but like he would speak to us and say, try this, try that, or give us little pointers and stuff. And then obviously would play the way Frank wants to play. But I think the first year of it worked fine. I don't think we had a great year anyway. But then the next year, I think that's when it sort of butted heads, and I think Frank got the sack and Ali wanted to be coach, didn't get the coach, and then it was a bit
Did he want to be coach?
I think he wanted to be captain coach.
Captain coach?
Yeah.
That'd be a flex.
Throwback, yeah.
That'd be a serious fucking... So did you ever win with him? No? Did you
Win
guys
the
ever
title? Nah.
No.
Nah.
Was there a game, like, I was trying to remember, like, his first game where he hit some fucking...
Yeah, free kick. I was there.
Free
Yeah.
kick, yeah.
Full stadium, free kick.
Bent it
Bedlam.
in. Like,
Bedlam.
it was hectic.
35 yards.
That was mad.
People think it was so absurd. People think it was set up.
Yeah.
How the fuck do you set that up? You still
When
gotta hit it
things
right,
like
mate.
that, well,
Like-
people think Origin's set up, right?
Yeah,
You can't
yeah. People
please
are dumb.
everyone.
What do you think about the marquee signing model? Like, and I could be wrong, not being as ardent an A-League follower as I once was in the marquee days, but it's not really marquee signing times anymore, is it?
No, it's not as prominent as it was. I think when the league was young, they wanted as much big names to sort of draw in the crowd and whatnot. We actually had like Nenny just signed for Melbourne Victory. I'm not sure if he's aware who he is.
Nanny, he played for Man
Played
United.
for Man United, won the Champions League, done it all.
How old have you been?
He's like 36-ish.
Yeah.
So we usually
Still-
get him at the back end of their career. But
Yeah.
I just played
He's a
against
big
him on the
name.
weekend, yeah. He's still got it.
You played him?
Yeah, we just played them on weekend just gone. He's still got it. And he's the only sort of big name marquee I can remember of late. They're still marquees because they leave them outside the cap, like the salary, but they're not the big names like they used to be, which I don't mind because it's sort of, I think we're at a stage now. I mean, the game's not the biggest in the country, but it's doing okay. We obviously qualified for World Cup, so it's going to boost it even more.
Yeah.
But if you get in a player that's going to do really well in the league rather than let's say a 37-year-old that's sort of going to be a bit slower or behind the eight ball and not in his prime, I feel like it's not as beneficial as getting someone that you can get in at 26, 27, still doing really well and like
But
kill,
not,
kill
as
the
big a
league.
not as big a name.
Yeah, but
a
still
good
do really
player.
well.
Yeah.
Draw players in, yeah.
Do you... Sorry, don't know what the fuck.
Well, from a eyeballs perspective, do you think there is any value in the marquee player though to sort of at least maybe shine more attention on the sport or the code, the league in this country for people that probably otherwise wouldn't pay attention?
Yeah, I still see the value in it. Yeah, if you can get the right name, because like I said, football's not massive or soccer's not massive here. So if you can bring in a name that even Joe Blow would know, he's obviously going to turn the TV on. That's one more viewer, brings more people in. So that's obviously what you want at the end of the day. So I do see the value in it, but I feel like it's a very fine line.
So what you're trying to say is that Usain Bolt maybe wasn't the right call.
Yeah.
What was the shatter at training?
That
That
was
wasn't
so
met well.
weird,
That
dude.
wasn't met well.
I bet.
Yeah. And then he showed his highlights, I think, and it was just like, fuck. Like, obviously he's a world-class athlete.
Sprinter.
Yeah, sprinter.
Well, he's a sprinter.
Yeah.
Let's not lie. Let's not.
Yeah. He couldn't just go fucking play any sport because he's fast as fuck. Like, there's plenty of
No.
fast people.
He
that
came
don't
out and
make it.
rinsed the league too. I think he said like, "Oh, why did I start in the A-League or try to make the A-League when I should have went to Europe?" They see football, they understand football better, so they would have seen me for what I was or something.
Yeah, that
You
was.
just sort of got to.
But he scored fucking 2 goals in that trial. Like, if we want to talk about things that may have been staged, but I was like, once that happened, I'm like, fuck, like it's hard now because
Yeah.
he scored 2 goals. He didn't look good the whole game,
Nah.
really. It was just like, but these
Yeah.
2 goals happened. So as players, like, are you all talking shit? Like, how would his teammates have reacted to
Yeah,
that?
knowing a lot of the boys that were there at the time at the Mariners, yeah, they were all the same. They were like, he's a donkey. You know what I mean? Like, in the best way. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, I don't want to diss the guy because he's a freak.
He's a freak at sprinting.
Yeah.
If you were dissing him in sprinting, you'd be like,
Yeah.
well, fucking, you know, but like.
Well, if you're listening to sprinting, you'd be wrong.
Yes.
Yeah.
However, we're running an eye over his football capabilities here. And I think the guy, when he first started, even before he came to the Mariners, was like, I want to play for United.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, that's not how it works.
No, that's not how it works. You're
Well,
fast.
Yeah. But so, like, how are the Mariners boys about that?
Yeah, like they were just like they enjoyed for what it was. They sort of saw it as a circus sort of thing.
It was a circus.
Yeah. So they were like, this is a bit of a laugh. But they were like, yeah, he's definitely not going to be a footballer. Like,
Zinger Bales, I think we described him as at the time. He was just popcorn, pageantry, and sort of like glitter and
He was
sparkles.
pumping pageantry. He was Zinger Bales. You're absolutely right. Because it's funny because all those boys would have trained with him, right?
Yeah.
And they
Was
would've
was there any word like in terms of, you say Del Piero was a dude, was he a bit fucking I'm Usain Bolty about it?
No, I think he was actually a good fella too. I think he
that's
loved
good.
to like go out. So he'd take the boys out. I mean, you're on the Central Coast, so it's not like you're going nightlife, but going down to the Beery or whatever and getting on the sauce. So I think they said he was good like that. But
Imagine
just on the
rocking
pitch.
into like an Ari and seeing Usain Bolt with a bunch of, you're like, what the fuck's going on here? I need to play bingo or the pokes. Usain's next to me smoking a dart.
I've got the fastest man all time next to me.
Yeah.
And by some way.
And he's just hit a feature, shock horror, this man can't miss.
Yeah. Well, I'd be shocked if he did miss.
Yeah.
On the
if you're
pokes.
hitting, on the pokes, but also in life.
Would you have been, as a defender, let's just like insert you into that trial where Usain scores 2 goals. Would your teammates give you heaps of shit for that, do you reckon?
Yeah. It's a real tough one, that, because you don't want to look like a dickhead, but because if you underestimate him, if someone just puts him behind you, he's going to smoke you for pace. So it's like, fuck, give him a little bit of like drop off, let him have the ball to feet, and hopefully he just doesn't do something crazy. But yeah, if he scored against, like, if I was playing that game and he scored against one of the boys, I'd still be in their ear about now.
Yeah,
like,
you
I
wouldn't
would
be able to
not
live
let
that
him
down.
rest. Yeah.
That's a great question. I wouldn't
But
have
I
thought
think
that would be-
I think the Mariners offered him a contract. I honestly, this is a rumor, and I'm not sure how true it is.
Well, do your own research.
Yeah, deal. They offered him a contract, but he wanted like close to $1 million, and they were like, "Come on, like, I don't think the Mariners
$1
would
million
ever
a
pay-
year?
something like that. I might be way off, but
It
that's the
sounds like
rumors
you're not,
around
like,
the
I wouldn't be surprised if
around the
fucking
football.
I
Usain
feel like I've heard something to that effect, and they were like, listen, you know, even with the money that the A-League tips in for like marquee signings, we're worlds away here, mate.
But the thing
he
is,
can't
though,
play.
yeah, but in marketing dollar, he probably makes it in
Maybe,
marketing dollars, because it was just a shit show. But it's also global. Like Usain Bolt scores goals in fucking Australian professional.
I think it was a trial match. I think Fox Sports
they broadcast.
Yeah, broadcast it, like-
and I watched it. And
Yeah,
again,
so did
not
I.
a huge.
I watched it.
We watched it.
Yeah.
So like, you know, there is the argument, but again, it does take the piss out of the A-League.
It
a little
does,
bit by
yeah.
having him there.
yeah.
But yeah, so there's no one else really in the marquee world at the moment that's in the A-League or coming down.
There
or-
might be. Apologies if I forgot anyone, but I don't run my eye across as.
Do you
probably
watch?
as much.
Do you watch other like the games outside?
Maybe on a Friday night. If we play Saturday, I'll probably watch the Friday night game because I'm not doing anything at home. But then like the Sunday games or something, probably not.
You're out in Bondi just
Yeah.
ripping and tearing, moving
Yeah.
shit from one end to the other.
Yeah.
But are you watching film all week anyway?
Yeah, we do a lot of film, so it's like, yeah, you sort of want to get away from it more often than not, like, because it comes a bit of a fucking eyesore. But
What's your week like just generally? So like, you know, obviously from the professional side of things, what you got to do, but then like, what do you do when you get away?
great question. I get asked that so much, and I actually don't know what I do in my spare time. I sort of just plotter along, like I was saying to you before. I'm moving house at the moment, so that's been taken up a lot of my time. We've actually got a new pup who you would have saw. Yeah.
Well, my daughter was obsessed with
Yeah.
it. And I hadn't seen you yet, so I was like, don't walk up to the random dude and fucking try and annoy him for the dog.
So that takes up a lot of time. They're hard work.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, just live like without sounding fucking cheesy or generic. Just like live the Bondi life. Sort of just go down, swim, surf if I can.
Yeah.
Go to the pub, chat shit.
Love that. Where's Sydney FC based?
We're based at like Macquarie Field, like Macquarie Uni. Sorry, like not Macquarie Fields.
yeah.
Macquarie Uni,
Like-
like Epping.
Epic.
Right,
Yeah, right.
Just
Epping,
off the M2, literally like right off the M2.
Yep.
We've been there as long as I've been at Sydney, yeah. So it's a little bit out the way, but it's like once you know, it's not too bad.
Are they staying there or are they coming?
Yeah, we're building a new facility as we speak. That should be ready, I think, by early next year, which looks like the bee's knees. It looks sick.
In Epping?
In the same precinct.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Same precinct.
So our pitch is at the back of the there's about 4 or 5 ovals. It's what Macquarie Uni still use it for their sports. So we see like Quidditch and shit. Like on the weekends and
That's
whatnot,
fucking bizarre,
which is a
isn't
good
it?
watch.
I bet.
Yeah, so we're like at the front at the moment, but we're building up near our pitches. It's probably like a 200-meter walk at the back of the precinct. So it looks sick.
Looks
So
good.
it should be good.
What's your training week like?
So today's my day off.
Thanks for wasting it on us.
Yeah. No, I'm privileged to be here. We'll probably train 5 days a week, 1 day off, play on that 7th day.
Yep.
Every team's a little bit different. We have a 3-day lead in. We call it a 3-day lead in. So we'll train, say we play this Saturday, we'll train the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, play Saturday, go in Sunday for recovery, do a fuck around session on the Monday, have Tuesday off.
Right.
So that's generally how it works. Sometimes, like this week, we play Sunday. That's why I've got today off. But yeah, sort of have to be there. Depends if you have like treatment and physio in the mornings. Let's say around 9 o'clock, finish by 2:30, home by 3 usually.
Do you play midweek games? Like, is the Australia Cup and shit midweek?
Yeah, that was in pre-season. So usually that would be finishing around now, but they've changed it to have it almost like a pre-season cup, which can be midweek. We played midweek games. The last few years has been like, because of COVID, I think last year we played like 7 games in 22 days or something stupid. So last year was just all over the shop because of COVID. And
Do you like the
rest of
concept of it?
Of-
The Australia Cup?
Yeah, I love it. I love that. Yeah,
Pretty
it's
cool.
Yeah, it's cool. It's like the FA Cup, right?
Yeah.
It sort of gets all the littler clubs, I suppose, with a lot of history, playing against the bigger
dogs.
clubs. Yeah, we got beaten by an NPL club actually. So
What's that feel like? I mean, like, and are you guys playing full strength teams? Is the preseason comp like? Is it serious? Is it taken very seriously still?
yeah, we took it seriously until we lost that game. We didn't care about that one.
No, I didn't.
No,
Was
we
it the one
took
that got
it
to the
seriously.
final that you lost to?
Nah,
Okay.
we didn't lose. Nah, we lost to a Melbourne NPL team. But
Fuck them.
yeah, it's a bit. I mean, it's not. You don't want to say embarrassing because it's not embarrassing, but we hold ourselves at a better standard than that. You'd like to think so.
Yeah.
But a lot of those boys, they're really good players, and I knew a few of them. They've played in and around the A League for the last few years, so it's not like they're derricks. You know,
No.
they're decent players. They're a good team. It's a good club. But at the end of the day, we shouldn't have lost. But it is a little bit like a kick in the teeth.
Yeah.
And we wanted to win it because last year we had a real like shit year. So we were like, let's do well in this cup. And next minute we're out. But hopefully we do all right this year.
Do you find they like the non-A League teams like they go way harder at you, like physically, like?
Yeah, definitely. They're just like 100 mile an hour. They've obviously got a point to prove. Just knowing a lot of the boys, I have a lot of good friends that sort of play in the New South Wales NPL, and just hear them like what some of the people say, how they like, oh, we should be there, or look at this cunt, like has he played for Australia? Like I fucking did this, did that, blah, blah.
Yeah, right.
So it's like they've obviously got
right.
like a little chip on their shoulder.
Yeah,
a lot of them don't. A lot of them are legends, but there's
some-
obviously a few
Sure.
that love to carry on.
Yeah.
So obviously when you play them, they're in your face and they want to do well. But yeah, it's sort
What
of...
happens if one of them wins it? It's not like they get a fucking promotion to the A League, is it?
No, but I
what
think
the fuck
you
happens?
get into like... I think if you win it now, I may be wrong. My soccer knowledge is horrific, by the way. But
So's ours.
Do you get into the Asian Cup?
yeah, you get into like the Asian Champions
Or the
League.
Asian Champions League,
Asian
rather.
Champions
Yeah.
League, yeah.
Really?
Or you get
Yeah.
the half spot. So we have I think we used to have a 2.5 spot. We have 1.5 now, where if you win the league, you get in there. If you win the cup, you have a playoff against another country's champion or whatever.
Yeah.
And then if you win that, you win. But that's obviously never happened. This is the closest it's come with Sydney United. They got to the final but lost.
That was
But
the
winning-
first. That was first time a non-A League teams made the final. I
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
They must have been a shot to win it, right? What was the end score in
I
that?
think it was 2-0, but it was 2 penalties. I think they conceded. So I didn't watch it, but
No.
apparently they did quite well. The crowd behaved.
Yeah, well, the crowd were
Fucking hell.
fucking.
What?
Jesus Christ.
What's the? What's
What's a bit of
the?
a fucking. Whoa.
Yeah.
What the hell's going on here?
What's the Asian Champions League like? You would have played a couple of times.
Yeah, I've played in it maybe 6 or 7 times. It's pretty cool. Like, you sort of see yourself. Like, Sydney FC is probably the biggest club in Australia.
Yeah.
Close to like Melbourne Victory, but
I'd say Sydney FC.
yeah, good.
Fuck
Good,
Melbourne
man.
Victory. We're very. Listen, we pretend
Very.
like we don't know, but we know who we hate. And we hate Melbourne Victory.
Yeah.
And the Wanderers.
We're disappointed about the weekend. That's right.
Yeah, that's another story.
No.
But yeah, then you sort of play against some of these teams. Like, we played against, I don't even know the name of them, but Ange used to coach them in Japan, Ange Postecoglou.
Yeah.
A few years ago, and they fucking bopped us. And you sort of think, like, we're a big club, and then you play against them, you're like, oh, fuck. Like,
What
Miles
remember when fucking Western Sydney won it?
yeah.
Yeah.
That was pretty crazy.
That was when they made 3 grand finals, didn't they? And they didn't win one, but then they went and won
Yeah.
the Asian Champions League.
Yeah.
That was wild.
They still hang their hat on that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were
Get to
talking
win
about
the
them, like, their fans were, obviously they were fucking psychos, but, like, it felt like they were good for the sport in the sense that, like, they got, sure they were lighting flares and bashing people from time to time, but, like, it was getting newspaper articles, you know what I mean? Like, you knew about it. It was outside of the violence and shit. Have they banned all of their fucking, the red and black block? Is that?
Yeah. I mean, well, any publicity is good publicity, right?
Yeah.
For the league, especially for football.
Yeah.
Or soccer. But I think, yeah, there was a bit of drama with the flares and shit. So I think they did ban a few people, or RBB members that was sort of like the head honcho. So I think they went away from it, or they protested or something. So I think it's died off a little bit, to be honest. But yeah, when we play them, I think like 4 years ago we played them at ANZ. I think we had 65,000. So
Crazy.
like, the fans are still there,
Yeah.
especially when it's a big game. But yeah, they're obviously really good for the game. The RBB, and our guys, the Cove, they're always there too. So it's like, when it's the right game. I mean, Sydney sides are fickle, right? If it's fucking shit weather or the team's not doing well, they just sack it off.
Correct.
But if things are flying, it's like, it's really good.
Yeah. Fair way.
So you know, the atmosphere at like a Sydney derby would still attract that
Yeah.
passionate fan and all the carry on that it sort of was like the hallmark of the Western Sydney Wanderers when they came into the comp.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think we play them in probably 4 or 5 weeks. If both teams are doing well, like, that, we'll still get a massive crowd. I think it might be at Allianz, so I would go close to selling that out. And even as like someone that doesn't love football, that's the only time someone asks for tickets off me. It's like, we could play fucking Brisbane
My
Raw.
next question.
Yeah, we'll play like Brisbane Raw, and I'll give them to someone and be like, nah, I'm good. But then we'll play like the Wanderers, and I've like everyone in like sliding into my DMs.
Yeah.
You got tickets? I'm like, sorry, man, no can do. But I got next week if you want.
Yeah.
MacArthur away.
MacArthur away.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, listen.
I may leave you on red.
Well, next weekend, busy.
Yeah.
Flat out.
Swamped.
Swamp. How was returning to Allianz on the weekend?
Yeah, it was sick.
Was that sick?
Yeah, it was.
'Cause you've been away for 2 years, 3 years.
4, I think.
Where were you
years.
playing? Where was your home games
We're
at?
playing at Cogra.
Okay.
You love Cogra.
Oh, yeah, Cogra. One of the-
Best name.
It's at Net Strata Jubilee,
Yeah,
right?
great name.
One of the great names.
And a few games at Leichhardt, which I don't mind.
Leichhardt's
yeah,
cool.
Leichhardt's
Fuck
sick.
Cogra, with respect. But Leichhardt's cool.
Yeah, so we're sort of bouncing between those two, mostly Cogra. But yeah, it was good to be back there. Well, before we left, we had a bit of a fortress there. We did really well. And it sort of just feels more familiar. And whenever you're in a stadium, the atmosphere just feels, like, as a player on the pitch, it just feels so much better than at like a little boutique stadium. So yeah, it was cool. And I didn't see, obviously, the pre-game event because we were in the sheds, but I had friends in that there that said they did it really, really well. So yeah, it's six spot. Lots of toilets.
Mate,
My experience was not enough toilets, but I was on maybe I was too high up.
No.
I think there's over 600 toilets.
600 toilets? Okay.
Mate, there's heaps of toilets.
No, that's a good amount. Listen, I wasn't happy with the amount of toilets, but that was me, and I was also in a lot of pain because of my knee. I ran a marathon, and maybe I just wasn't in the right headspace. That's also a...
You hadn't run the marathon.
No, I hadn't run it yet, but I was in preparation. Knee was in a lot of pain. I'm saying, sometimes you're not thinking straight. So How many comps you won with the Sydney FC?
I think 4 championships, 4 minor premierships.
And minor premierships mean way more in soccer, eh? Well, at least they do in like the Premier League and shit. But like,
yeah, well, because that's like they play first past the post, yeah.
right? But like
And
even then,
it.
you say like your 4 premierships, then championships, premierships. Which one is the good one?
I'd prefer to win the grand final.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Same.
just because there's more like stuff around it, like the lead up to it. See, if you're like 10 points clear and you come up to the last round and you win it, it's not the same feeling as if it's a one-off game to win the grand final. But that depends. If we only win the minor premiership, obviously
that's
that's
what you
more
want.
important.
Yes.
Yeah,
So how many grand finals have you won?
4, I think. I think I might be.
What do you?
Either 3 or 4.
You don't even know how many grand finals you've won, dude.
Something
Jesus
like that.
Christ.
3 or 4, I think. We won 2 in a row a couple of years ago. Yeah, 4.
And what do you get? Do you get a ring? Do you get a medal? Do you?
We just get a little
Medallion thing?
like a little medal. Yeah, looks like a little toilet seat. You know how the
The
Oh, is it a
toilet
mini
seat.
toilet seat?
yeah, it's a mini toilet
mini
seat. You have
toilet
it
seat.
on
mini
a,
shitter seat. Okay.
yeah.
That toilet seat's a wild bit of gear.
Yeah.
That's a trophy.
Yeah, it is.
The toilet seat.
It's-
Who'd you beat in your grand finals? Like were there close ones? Are there anywhere?
Yeah,
it was like,
2 of them have gone to penalty shootout.
Shit.
3 of them, sorry, have gone to
3
penalty
of them
shootout.
have gone a penalty shootout.
Yeah,
Have you
That's
taken a penalty?
I took a penalty in one of them. Yeah,
How was that?
it was good. I
What
didn't
do you
hit it.
like?
I mean,
what are you saying to yourself before that? Like, hey, when do you pick which way you're going?
so that you pick the day before, or usually you're told by all the experts.
Who
Pick
are the
before.
experts?
So like either your coaches or people that have taken penalties. As a defender,
They tell you which way you're going the day before.
but they
you
don't
even-
tell you which way. They say pick a side and stick to it no matter what. So if I'm saying I'm going 4th and everyone before me has gone left, still go left. But
Doesn't matter. Just that's what
Yeah.
you've already picked.
And you've got to pick the day before.
well, you don't have to, but they say because some people get a bit confused in their run up and then that's when they change their mind. They shank it or they hit it too hard or whatnot.
But is there any research done into, the goalie likes to go right more than he likes to go left, that sort of thing?
For the keepers, there is. They have like a little sheet every game.
Right.
Every game, their keepers have a sheet, and it's like Ed might like to go left. Like Tom will go top right, and they've got it there, so then they know. Like
Just
this guy
fucking
fancies
go.
this, yeah. But then a lot of it's on instinct too.
Yeah.
Like the keeper will say, "Fuck, I feel like he's going to go straight here."
And
Like,
just-
and that was when Redders, obviously the grey wiggle, Redmayne,
that's right.
bushranger.
Dude, yeah, that's why we got those fucking Ned Kellys,
Yeah.
mate. Because of him.
The year I took a penalty, he was in goal and he was the hero in that year. He scored. He saved I think 2 of the penalties. One of them, the striker, was his very last game, Santalab for Perth.
Brenton Sandlab.
Yeah, Brendan, I think. Brendan, yeah,
Oh, sure,
I think. And then it was his very last game, very last kick in professional football, and he tried to chip it down the middle, and Redders had no didn't know which way, but he just had an instinct he was going to do it and stayed straight and caught it.
Oh, dude.
What's it called?
Panenka?
Panenka?
Yeah, Panenka. Panenka.
What are you sending me here, Dave? Sorry,
Panenka?
Dave's got something for us.
That's
Panenka.
that is is that him wanting to go out?
I think so.
The man?
Yeah.
Sorry, I just got to stop the conversation really quickly. I've just been alerted by D or Dave. Did you score the winning goal in the 2020
I did, yeah.
A-League Grand Final off the chest from inside the 6-yard
Yeah.
box? You forgot that one. You fucking forgot
I've actually
to
scored in
mention
2.
that one.
I've scored in 2 grand finals. One was an
Oh, look
equaliser,
at
one was
you,
a
dude.
winner.
I thought they didn't fucking score defenders, mate.
I've only scored, I think, like 14 goals in my career, yeah. And 2 of them
Two of them in the
grand
GF.
finals, yeah.
And one to win it.
1 to win, yeah.
So that was
Extra
obviously not in
time.
a penalty shootout.
Nah.
Was that an extra time?
Yeah. Like,
100 and-
maybe 100 minute, 101.
Who
Yeah.
against?
Melbourne City. Yeah.
How'd that feel?
Yeah, that was a good
That must have
night.
felt
That must
was
be
a
one of
good
the
night.
great rushes all time.
Yeah. If you watch it, like, don't watch the replay because
No, we'll watch the replay.
it's very
Insert it
embarrassing.
Here.
Like, I think I pull my shirt over my head like a fucking dickhead. But like, it's just it, and then I quickly realize like that's stupid. Like pulling it down and then
Thought
like.
you're Aguero. You should have
Yeah.
got it off. And
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, I was on a yellow card already, and if you pull your shirt up, you get a yellow. But I
What?
didn't even go through my mind.
Is that just an A-League thing?
No, it's like if you take your shirt off, it's a yellow card, like in world football.
Really? Is that, did you know that?
They don't want nip stuff.
Yeah,
What? Nip stuff not play on?
not play on.
That's bullshit.
That's fact.
What? Because it's just a bit of like you're too leery.
I don't know.
And
I
then people
actually
have
don't
shit
know.
on their shirts underneath.
Yeah,
and
there's
stuff
like
that. They have
process and
messages.
stuff.
Yeah, I get that, but if you're just celebrating a grand final winning fucking
Look, I think in that situation, I think context means something.
Yeah.
I think if you've won the match winner,
Well, that's what happened because I was on a yellow, and theoretically I should have been given a second yellow, but the ref, I think, in context was like, he's just a bit of carry on, didn't mean it.
let him live.
Yeah, so I didn't get sent off, thankfully. So it would have went hero to villain real quick.
what's that like final 10 minutes like of extra time, grand final, you've just scored. Like the final 10 minutes defending a lead to win the whole goddamn thing. Is that just...
It's pretty edge. You're just on edge. But because I just scored, I was like, I had like, you want to say second win, was probably like my fourth win by then because it was extra time. So you're just on like a buzz and that's when you sort of got to switch on because you start running around just chasing everything. You might get caught out of position and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I'm known for that anyway because I just fucking like a dog just chase the ball. So you got to like, people have got to be like, fucking Ryan, relax, man. Like play your position, do this, do that. But yeah, hanging on for that, you sort of just like body on the line sort of shit.
Can you talk us through the goal? Talk us through like what happened?
Yeah. It was it was late into extra time.
My
and
eyes
I
are
was
closed
playing,
here, punters, dribblers. I'm fucking going back there.
picture
with it.
this. I was playing right back, right? So I'm normally a defender and I've just sort of snuck forward when Bratsy, who can put a ball on a sixpence like freak, gets the ball in midfield about halfway between the penalty box and halfway, and he just sort of just dinks a little ball over there, left back, and I'm running in, and instead of heading it like any other person would, I decided to chest it or nipple it, and it just went in the far corner. But it was one of those things. Yeah, I sort of just went like, I actually don't know, and this is like why I say don't watch it, because everything I do is so unorthodox. It doesn't look like poetic at all. I just look like a proper battler. It just came in. It's just right there to head, just like head it home, champ. Like just head it home, and I just decided to go like that for some reason. But it put the keeper off.
Went in, yeah.
Like instinct paid off.
Why did you run forward in that moment?
I tend to run forward just because, like I said, I just sort of want to be in the action.
Jack Russell vibes.
Yeah. So I just put myself in and about and see what happens. It can cost me, it can cost the team, but it also can pay off.
How many grand finals you lost?
One, I think, just the one.
Just one. When?
That was back in 2015, but I was at the team. I was at Sydney when we lost another one just 2 years ago. I was in hotel quarantine.
Couldn't play.
Yeah.
Well, fuck, that's perfect, dude. You weren't part of it.
Why were you in hotel quarantine?
Yeah, this is where Australian football is great. So I represented the Socceroos at a tournament where, because COVID was a shit fight, obviously, they condensed the qualifiers into like a 3-week period where you were playing every 4 days or something.
Qualifiers for the World Cup?
Yeah. So I was part of that squad, but that just happened to go over the final series of the A-League. So there was a lot of boys actually in the A-League. I think there was probably 5 or 6 of us that were in that grand final that was sitting in the hotel, because we got back the week before the grand final and had to sit in hotel quarantine for obviously 2 weeks at the time.
Shit.
So we were all in different rooms.
All
like
the
Redders
best
was there at
players
the
of the
time.
fucking team are
Yeah,
all-
which is sort of not great for the league, right? Because you've got
No.
your national team players.
Couldn't they
but-
postpone the game or some shit? Like, especially with quarantine when no one's going to the game, I assume.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's still people going, but like 50%.
Yeah,
But still, yeah, it was a really weird
Who was it
situation.
against?
Melbourne City.
Okay.
Who had, I think, 3 or 4 players too, to be honest.
Okay,
yeah.
right.
So, but if you count that, I've lost that one too.
We don't count,
why
no, we
don't
don't
count
count
that one?
We don't count that.
Because you weren't there.
Same way we don't count 2013. We got robbed.
Well, we count as a win.
Well, we count as a win. Don't count as a loss.
No, so it's a big difference.
Socceroo's debut was when?
2018, not that long ago,
Yeah.
4 years ago.
Did you play at the World Cup?
Nah, I don't think I would have anyway. But before, like, I was in the Socceroo squad before that World Cup,
Yep.
and I did my knee.
What'd you do?
my ACL.
Oh, fuck.
But I don't think I would have been in the squad anyway. That's not like I would have played.
No, but you did do your knee before
Yeah,
the World
I did
Cup,
do my knee. The
and
year
you're saying
before.
you would have played.
What about the Asian Cup? Have you
Yeah, I
it?
played in that, in 2019, I think that was. I played in that.
Is that the one we won?
No.
We won 2015.
Yeah.
That feels more right, like in terms of my
Well,
body clock.
it
memory.
wasn't.
It wasn't 2019.
No, it wasn't 3 years.
I felt much younger watching that game. Is Ange Postecoglou the sweatiest man you've ever seen? Like, he is, right?
That
He's the sweatiest person.
one meme, hey, where
Yeah.
he's wearing that.
Dude,
that
it was
button up.
It was see-through. He may as well have just taken it off and
Yeah.
just fucking packed it
Yeah,
in.
yeah. Sweatiest man alive.
Yeah.
Hot, though.
What's Ange got?
I've only been in a few camps with him, but he's just a fucking like motivator. Obviously, tactically, he's so modern compared to he's like a Pep like of Man City fame. Chuck that in there.
I love
No, I
that.
loved it.
So he like has a style which he's like so dead on it. Like if you don't do it, you're out, or he'll call you on it. Like if you don't do what he wants you to do, which I love because it holds you accountable, you know. And you're like, fuck, I didn't do it. Fair enough. Like,
What style is that?
well, it's hard. It's just like in soccer terms or football terms, like play out at all costs. So like your keeper will pass to your centre half, back to your keeper, even if there's 3 or 4 players coming in. It's just like his philosophy is so like.
What did you say? Play out at all costs?
Yeah, so like don't just hoof it. Like if you're under pressure, don't just boot it. You know, you pass it back to a keeper.
Yeah.
They just launch it.
Yeah.
And then you lose possession.
Yeah. Keep possession is probably the best way to put it at all costs. So like play it around the back, even if the risk is there. And if you fuck up, try and do what he wants you to do, and they score, he's like, nah, well done. Like
You're
he'll put
doing
his
what
hand
the-
up.
you're
Yeah,
on
yeah.
the plan.
So that's his thing. But for someone that didn't spend much time with him, his team talks like the day before a game, you'd be fucking well up for it. You'd run through
Oh,
a brick
really?
wall. You'd be like, fuck. Like, let's go, sort of thing. Like,
Can you
just,
give
he's
us an
just,
example? Like
I think it's just the way he just the way he gets it across. So I think there even might be footage on a YouTube or something of like that they've put together where they sort of film a little bit of it, and he sort of like talks about your family and people sitting back home watching you do this.
You like that.
And you're just sort of like, fuck yeah.
Invoke the family.
Yeah,
Shit.
so
I
he's
like
very much
that.
like that. Yeah, he's a good motivator.
because he's doing good things at Celtic.
He's fucking killing it.
He's
yeah.
like
I thought they were saying he's going to be the next Premier League coach of some side. I just read a headline though.
Yeah.
well,
I
he's
think-
been earmarked for Premier League.
Yeah.
Liverpool, Arsenal.
People have said he could be a Liverpool. I think Brighton just got their manager just
Liverpool,
left.
I don't know. I
they
don't
spoke
think you'd
about
go
him.
straight into Liverpool. I mean, you never say never.
You don't
right?
say
Yeah,
never.
I
Justin
wouldn't
Bieber
put
said
it past him.
best.
Eh? I would. That people, they like he's made a name for himself now,
Yeah.
like in Europe and that. Who knows?
It'd be cool. But he got the arse from the Socceroos, and it felt like that. That felt weird to me when that happened. Was that weird, or was it like, how can you be as good as he is now, but not good enough to coach a fucking?
He
Australia?
walked away.
Oh, did he walk away?
Yeah, he qualified for the World Cup and then walked away from it.
And who took over?
Arnie.
Is Arnie still?
Oh, he
doing-
wasn't the coach. Sorry, a coach called Bert. I don't know his last name. he didn't pick me. He didn't pick me.
The Dutch guy.
Yes.
Yeah, the
Came
Dutch
in
guy.
just for the World Cup.
Bert.
He came in
Van
for
something.
Van.
Yeah, he came in for
bruh,
2018.
I always remember our World Cup coach. So always like it is always some weird like
Now we've got Arnie.
Austrian or
Yeah.
Bert
That's
Van
it.
Marwijk.
Yeah.
And then who was our one before that? Who were our other World Cup coaches? There was the one that
Who
Tim
was
Verbeek.
Gus
Gus
Hiddink.
Hiddink.
He's a
Who
famous
was 2016 in Brazil?
one. That
Him.
was Ange.
Ange.
Yeah,
That was
Tim
Ange.
Verbeek.
Yeah. He was
Verbeek
just
must have
before
been-
that.
Okay. Did Pim Verbeek take
Who
us to a
took
World
us
Cup?
to? Who took us to
06,
2006?
Gus.
Gus.
Gus Hiddink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gus.
Yeah. We
well,
dine out on 2006.
Gus should be on the $5 note. Now Queenie's dead. I wouldn't mind Gus on there.
What do you and I'm not looking for you to make a comment here, so you can just pass it if you want. But like, what do you make of Tim Cahill and the fact that he's put up his goal from 2016?
32 times.
30.
Well, no, it was 32 times at time of recording. It's now at least 33. Yeah.
It's when you were talking about, and I listen to the podcast all the time. When you were talking about, I was like, "Fuck! I'm so glad they've picked up on this," because it's like a well-known, like,
Oh, is it?
and I think like your wording, not mine, Magoo, right? Like, fuck,
yeah.
like,
Yeah, our wording.
Yeah,
Not
no,
yours.
our wording.
It's not me saying because
No, no.
he's a legend.
He's
Timmy's
an absolute legend.
You can't deny him of anything.
No,
He's
no.
and he's a good cunt too, like one-on-one. Like,
Yeah.
but he's a fuck big day. Like,
Huge day. Big day,
yeah.
Big day rose, not an ad.
But yeah, he's a good cunt. But yeah, the constant stuff. It's just so not me. Like on a personal level,
Yes, yes.
I'm so not like promoting
32
anything.
times a lot of times.
Yeah,
You should start putting up the nipple in.
Dude,
I just can't do it.
could you please do
Just
that?
start putting up the nipple in
Please
heaps.
put that up.
every day
You
for
know
a
what?
month.
Or if you don't, we're going to put it up 32 times. Greatest goal in league history.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
but
nipple.
yeah, when you said it, I was
nipple.
like, "Fuck, this is great.
The nipple
great
of God.
content."
Yeah, the nipple of God. The nipple of God.
No, that's a lot
okay.
from Tim. It is a lot from Tim, but it's a fucking goal. Like, it's a great
True.
goal. And he gave us many great moments, Tim, but 32 is a lot.
And that's all we're saying.
That's all we're saying.
Yeah.
We love Tim, but 32 is a lot.
It's huge.
It's a shitload. How'd you find out your first cap? Do they call it caps in soccer?
Yeah, caps. Yeah, we get a baggy green.
Do you?
Yeah, like a little cap. Yeah,
Do you really?
yeah, it's cool. They get like an ex-player to come in and present it, which is
Whose
pretty
was
cool.
yours?
I had probably a name that won't mean much to you guys. No,
Zelko
no
Carlo.
disrespect. I got so many stories about him, by the way.
I bet you
Jeez.
fucking
I'll probably have to tell you off.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
it's
right, okay.
It was Jay North and Brett Holman, I think it was.
I remember Brett
Brett
Holman.
Holman.
Yeah. So they came into camp and gave me mine, but
Were you expected to play? Like, was it out of the blue? Was it?
well, I'd just come back from that knee injury I was talking about earlier, and I had only been playing probably the first, I don't know, I want to say like 6 or 7 games, and was doing quite well, and then I sort of got called up from there to play friendly right before I went to the Asian Cup, and then I went to the Asian Cup and played there. So yeah, it was sort of a little bit unexpected because once I did my knee, it was the second time I've done my knee, and I was sort of like, oh, that's a wrap for me in terms of national team. And then, yeah, sort of jagged my way back in there, and then ended up playing, which was pretty cool.
Fucking no.
What number are you? What cap number?
600, which is bang.
600 knee.
Yeah,
I like
nice.
which
that.
was cool. Yeah, I like the way that worked
That's
out.
nice.
Yeah.
Mr. 600.
Mr. 600. How good's that?
And so what's it like telling your folks and all that sort of shit? Like, I imagine that must have been quite a nice experience.
Yeah, I think that's the best thing about it, to be honest, because when you're sort like you guys now, like if I was going to try and compare it, like you know how you get to a certain spot. Like it doesn't just happen overnight. Like you have done so well. Like as a player, you sort of gradually do quite well, and it's not like a massive surprise where you're like, oh fuck. Like you hear yourself, oh, I'm in contention for the national team.
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
I've got selected now. I'll sit on the bench for a few games. Oh, now I've got a chance. So it's not like it just happens overnight. So for a player, it's not like, fuck, this is unbelievable, which it is, but it's not like a surprise. But for your parents, because you don't tell them like, oh, apparently I might be in the squad. You sort of just keep that to yourself. So when you tell them, they're like, and you know what parents are like anyway. So for my dad, who's quite a stoic bloke, he doesn't show much emotion. And then I'll speak to mum and she'll be like, oh, your dad's fucking carrying on. He's like, tries to keep to himself, but then he'll be calling his mate and be like, well, I don't know if you've heard, but Buster's in the squad, by the way. He's about to make his first game.
That's cool.
So like for me, that's what the best thing is. And then like when even with your sisters and I've got nieces and nephews, like they froth it more than anything. So like that's the best thing I think, having for your family more than for the individual or yourself.
That's cool.
Do you are you, what's the anthem sort of?
Oh yeah, dude,
Like,
that'd be nice.
what's the lay of the land when it comes to the anthem? You're told to belt it out.
No, we're not told anything, But I try and be like loud and proud, not like proper loud where they can hear my voice and like, and because
Pick it up
the
on
camera's
on the
always
cameras and shit.
it's always out of like your mouth the words or whatever, you're singing the words, but it's not in time with because of the delay.
Yeah.
So you're there going, and then the words come over, so you look like a dickhead anyway.
Yeah, you look like you don't know the words.
Yeah. So I still sing it quite loud, like hand over the heart sort of shit.
Love that.
But I suppose in football, we have a lot of like different nationalities that play football that probably, or how do you put this? Like we've got 2 Scottish guys, I think, that had never been to Australia, that had played for Australia.
I remember one of those guys coming
Yeah,
over.
yeah.
And there was a bit of like.
So
what
it's a
the
bit
fuck?
weird. So it's obviously we don't promote to be like, oh, everyone has to sing it loud and proud because
Sure.
I'm not sure how much they know of the words,
Like,
but
if
we
you're
do make
playing
them.
for
We
the
do make them sing it in camp.
Yeah, dude. If you're playing for the
Prior
national
to the
Is there like-
game
yeah,
to
is there
catch
like-
them out. Yeah.
Is there like a hazing going into Australian?
Not so much. You're sort of like, as a new guy, it's always a bit daunting anyway. But like back when I was there, when like Timmy was in there, you sort of like shit yourself a little bit. But he was really good at sort of
Did he ever show you his goal in the World Cup?
Who was your skipper there? Like Lucas Neal or something?
No, I had Mile Jedinak was the
Oh,
skipper when I
yeah,
first
yeah,
went in.
yeah.
Yeah.
Love
He had a bit of bushranger
Oh,
about
he
him.
was.
He's
He's a man's
Who did he
man.
play for?
an alpha.
He's a
Crystal
man's
Palace?
man. That guy. Yeah.
Yeah, he was an
Palace,
alpha.
He fucked, dude.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Big time.
Can I ask
he's
a
a
question that's
rooster.
kind of basic? Who is our national captain in soccer right now?
Matty Ryan, the goalkeeper.
The goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Okay, Matty Ryan.
Matty
Okay.
Ryan.
Who has been forced out of first grade duties at the club he's playing for in the
Denmark?
Netherlands or Denmark or something? By this-
Borussia Dortmund?
No,
Fuck, I'm just saying
They're
clubs,
Ge-
dude.
that's
Sorry.
German.
Let me say clubs.
it's a German powerhouse.
Okay.
But
Why has he
close.
been forced out?
Well, by this guy, well, like apparently he was like injured and stuff. And now I was reading an article the other day about this Polish guy who doesn't like him. They're not friends. Who's like, it should be my position, not Matty Ryan's. And I'm like, bruh, we got a World Cup around the corner that we
Fuck
need to
that.
win, and we
Yeah,
need him
yeah.
fucking cherry ripe.
Who's this Polish prick? Do you know him?
I'll get-
I've never heard of him, but yeah, he rinsed him, in the interview.
Yeah,
So he
that's
did
what
not
I read.
rest him.
Yeah, fucking oath he did.
And they're in the same team.
He was talking shit, being like he shouldn't be in the side. I think we're only coming ninth because we leaking goals because of him. I'm like, mate, that's not really how it works. Like,
Yeah.
Bit about is there a bit more of that in soccer than other sports? And I'm not saying that is the case. I'm just sort of it seems to be massive fucking personalities.
Yeah, I think not so much in Australia because of our culture anyway, but in Europe, yeah, fuck. I think they'll say how they feel, and that's like a great example. Like, but to be fair, even when I read that, I was like, fucking hell, like
That's a lot.
yeah, that's big statement. Because yeah, what do you say? Like, there's one reason we've conceded, or we're coming ninth, and we've conceded so many goals.
yes.
It's like I don't want to point any fingers, but it's you.
Well,
It's
he
you,
goes-
dude. Do you need another bit?
I mean, oh, thanks, mate. That'd be great.
you, Dave.
Cheers.
I just realised we've been liberally topping ourselves up with tequila
Nah, I've
and
only
just
just
watching that
finished
fucking thing not move.
Some more ice, please, Dave, as well. Thanks.
What's it like? You were the reason I knew about you again being a relative football novice was because you became a bit of like a cult figure. You had the mullet going on, and you know you were very recognisable. What was the experience like there in terms of becoming a cult figure?
Cult hero.
But who managed to really you did manage to some degree break outside of the sort of parameters of just the rusted on A-League fan.
Well, Tom heard about you.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
If I heard about you, then you must have been massive. No, but you know what I mean? Like, what
Yeah,
was that
yeah.
experience like?
It was pretty cool, to be honest, because, again, as soccer players, it's not massive, so you don't get noticed a lot. But obviously when I had the mullet and I was sort of in my prime, yeah, people would come up, buy you beers, like, want to get a photo. And at the time, I was not going out a lot. I don't want to say that because that sounds horrible. But I was, like, enjoying myself, going, like, out most weekends and stuff. So you'd get people all the time, like, coming up and saying g'day and wanting a photo or wanting you to send... Thanks, man. Wanting to send, like, a stupid message to your, like, friends and shit. So it was pretty cool. And then, obviously, cut the mullet and fucking
when
no one
that
comes up to me. I think 2 years ago now, or maybe 18 months ago, it sort of just got to the stage where they were quite common. So I was it's ran its course. And then I just did it for the Leukemia Foundation and raised a bit of money. So, because like you said, it caused a bit of a buzz with how, like the iconic, or sort of, I suppose you want to say, like mullet. So I just ended up cutting it and getting a bit of cash for them. Which is pretty sick.
What's what do the next couple of years look like for you, do you think? You're gonna be how long are you contracted for at Sydney FC?
I've got this season and then next season.
Yep.
And what are you now? You're 30?
31. I've been at Sydney my whole career, so I obviously want to sort of end my career there. Hopefully play till 35-ish. So another
So you
couple
still
of
got
years.
a fair while,
Yeah, still
right?
got a few years after this contract. Hopefully, touch wood, everything goes to plan, and then see what happens from there. I don't really have any backup plan, to be honest. So
Like post-career sort of shit?
Nah.
You're not...
No, I've done all little different, like, because the PFA that sort of look after the players, they like give you little courses you can do and sort of help you out. And I've done 3 or 4 different courses. I still don't know what I do.
Nothing's interesting.
Nah, nothing sort of wet the whiskers. So I'm not sure what I want to do, but just play it by ear.
Would you stay in football? Like, would you say coaching and shit, or
I always thought I saw that as like a easy way. I always thought like fuck that, like because I'm not a big football guy anyway, soccer guy. So I was like,
know how many comps you won, so
yeah, exactly. So I was always like, that's just the easy decision, sort of to do that.
Yeah.
But the more like the older I get, I'm like, fuck, you might have to start coaching here. Do your badges, do something, work with the kids.
Let's not roll it out completely.
I actually really enjoy it now.
No, I love it. Right, so you don't
have to get your CV dialed before you start.
Yeah. We'll start. We'll get it into Canva. Get his CV into Canva and start.
Tobler can do it.
We can whip something up.
My girlfriend works at Canva actually.
Does
well,
she?
there you go.
So I've got a few little ins
You're
there.
gonna have the best looking resume there is.
Yeah, one of the hallmarks of a resume as well is you got to tell some
That'll go
porky pies on there though as well. You got to lie about what your capabilities are.
200 plus juggler.
200 plus juggler at a pinch.
We'll do a job.
I mean, unskilled. Like what's like labouring.
Belts out the anthem.
Can sing an anthem.
Belts out.
I
like that.
6'2", 6'3". You know what I mean? Like how tall are you? You'd be
a bit off that, but I mean you can always put a bit of mayo on it.
Well, you round up.
You round up 6'4".
Yeah, let's go 6'5".
Let's go 6'4", 6'5".
Me and Liz were on the same height.
I think you were saying earlier that you used to look down on Liz.
Yeah. Not in a judgmental sense, just literally tall.
In a height way.
No, in a height sense.
Yeah, that's right. Well, how when it comes to contracts, like, do they give you any inkling on which way they might be leaning?
Yeah. So pretty much every contract I've signed 2-year contracts and 1 3-year contract. So usually like a year before it ends, they'll come to me and say like, listen, we want to talk about a new contract, and then it'll sort of take time from there, but they'll sort of tell you quite early.
Indicate.
So if I don't hear in the next 6 to 8 months, maybe
yeah,
that's a sign. But usually that's how it works. But I've got a good relationship with Sydney. Obviously, I've been there I think 14 years now, so just like a piece of furniture really. So it should be quite smooth. Have
you ever captained the side?
I think I've got the worst record as a captain for Sydney FC. I think I've captained them 4 or 5 times, and we've lost every game.
Yeah. That's why they took the C off you.
Yeah.
Have you been at Sydney FC the longest of any player?
Yeah.
Really? That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's fucking.
That
What
is
you like
very
a couple of hundred, like 230 or something? 200. You played a few games.
Yeah,
right?
like 270, 280 or something like that.
Shit,
I think. I might be a bit wrong.
4 comps?
4 comps.
Dude, you're a
4
club
minor
great.
prems?
Yeah.
You're a club great.
Are we ruling out a statue?
I'm still waiting for my testimonial. I think after 10 years you get a testimonial and all proceeds come to you. Like,
Bros, you've had
ticket
fucking how many
gates.
years? 12, 13 years?
Yeah, 13 years.
So
So
you
And you haven't had a testimony?
nah. So
Who's
if you
your
can
coach?
look down the camera
Yeah,
again.
who's your coach?
Steve Corica, but we
Wait,
call him
Corica, what
call
the
him Bimby.
fuck, brah? What do you call him?
Bimby.
Wait, Bimby.
Bimby.
Sharpen the fuck up, bruh.
Bimby, you need to start pulling your socks up, bruh.
Yeah.
Because you've got the longest serving FC player all time, won 4 comps for the club.
He
no one's
thinks.
done more. Might be 5.
It might be 5, might be 3.
We're ruling out 6. No one's done more for the club. No one. Give this man a testimonial.
And give him a
Okay.
chance to win a game as captain. What the fuck are we doing here? We can't put it all on him.
Well, mate, we can be involved in your testimonial game.
Oh, I'd love to have you down
We'll get
there.
to the Parliament
Yeah,
dribble
we'll
there.
get
Yeah.
down there. You know,
What's the
I guess
equivalent
maybe
to
we
ringside?
like announce him out onto the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that'd
I
be
like
nice.
that.
I think that'd be a touch.
Or like we can go into the sheds and like say a couple of words before the game, you know.
Yeah.
Obviously we've had a great deal of impact on his
Look,
career.
I'd just like the opportunity to be able to get in there and sort of speak our piece, you know, get you revved up, present your jersey. I think that'd be nice.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, your dad wouldn't mind, would he?
Nah, he'd be all for it. As long as he's there.
Yeah, exactly.
As long as he's there.
So genuinely, like, I mean, you've got time, as you said, but right, so like, is media something you'd look at doing? Like, have you done any commentary or anything like that when you've been out? Is it fucking the Sydney FC podcast? Is there anything like that? I mean, D or Dave's always on thin ice here.
The listeners could probably. I don't have the voice really. Sounds like my balls haven't dropped. I've been told that numerous times. So I don't think I could do commentary or any type of media. Don't really have the face for TV either.
I disagree with that.
So yeah, I'm sort of.
I could strongly disagree with that.
Yeah.
I'll take
you're quite
all
trendy.
compliment.
No, I think, yeah, you look nice.
I think you need the context though. Just on purely from what the people see.
Well, can we have we got a wide on him, Tob? Like, get a wide. I mean, we've got wide shots on today, so I mean, they'll be able to see that you're a trendy motherfucker. And I mean, maybe it's the new age shit, not like, suit and tie commentary.
Yeah.
You can find some more modern way to get you into the game. Again, you got like 5 years before you retire, so I don't think it's
you could always go back to Canowdra and take the Canowdra Tigers to great heights.
True. I always wanted to cross codes. Go play footy somewhere.
You
really?
Pick up rugby league at 35, you reckon?
Yeah. I think that's when you
Tigers
peak, is
could
it
use
not?
Dude.
Oh, no,
Tigers
turn
could
that
use
down.
a little whip
Turn
at the
them
back.
down.
Put the one on again, mate?
Yeah.
Oh, the
We'll
old
see.
days?
Or the 7. Luke Brooks, I mean, no disrespect to Luke, but fuck, they could do with an A-League defender at half. Well, mate, look, appreciate you coming in. It's been great to finally meet you. Good luck with, we've picked you for the World Cup, but good luck with it all anyway, and we'll catch up again soon, I guess.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. Real quick, I do have a little present.
Oh,
I know
fuck yeah.
it probably doesn't mean much because this is not very
whoa.
soccer.
No, don't
But
say
it is
that.
an Aussie jersey. I'm not sure where the cameras are.
Yeah,
that's
fucking oath.
nice.
But it's
There we go.
I didn't give you the one with the name on the back because it's probably takes away the value.
Oh, you're
But this
too
is number
hard
4,
on yourself.
which was Cahill's number. So you can either have it as Cahill or as
Oh, so we could like...
You could
well,
put Cahill on that.
recreate
Yeah.
his
So there
goal
you
and
go,
put it on
fellas.
Instagram.
Thanks, mate.
Fucking oath. Look at that. Hold it up. There we go. Look, it'll fit Eddie. It won't fit me. I'm more muscular. I've got too much muscle mass, I think, is probably the problem for me.
World Cup qualifier, so you know it's good. 2022. We have qualified.
We have qualified. Hectic. Thank you, dude.
No worries.
All right, beautiful. Thanks,
Cheers.
bro.
No, thanks for having me, boys. Top.
Could you two just not talk anymore?